Hi, I'm Kelly Mills. The movie I will be doing my assignment on is Patch Adams. Now, the intent of the movie I have concluded is using humor to treat your patients instead of just treating the disease. Now, some might argue that Patch Adams wanted to just use humor to treat the disease and didn't want to consider the medicine part of being a doctor, and I don't really feel that was the intent of the movie at all. But I felt like it just really wanted to put importance on treating the patient as a person and not just their disease. So, the healthcare issues that I seen was brought up in this movie is that we are just sit there to trust our doctors, to not question them. We don't even get to know them, and we're just supposed to do what they tell us and we'll get better. And I feel like more of that needs to be, okay, let's get to know the patient. Let's see what's going on with them, what their goal is, and we'll have better outcomes that way. Now, one of the quotes I found in the movie was from Dean Anderson. When Patch was admitted to the psych ward for being suicidal, he didn't feel like he had much purpose in his life. And one of the patients was Dean Anderson. And Dean Anderson would kept going up to every patient and holding up 4 fingers. He'd get it right in their face and he'd say, "How many fingers do you see?" And every time the doctor would say 4. And they wouldn't get it when Dean Anderson was upset. And finally, Patch Adams sat down with Dean Anderson and he was just like, "I don't get it. All I see is your 4 fingers." And this is what Dean Anderson said. He said, "See what no one else sees. See what everyone else chooses not to see. Out of fear, conformity, laziness, see the world." So, at this time, what Patch did was instead of focusing on Dean's hand, the issue, he focused on Dean. He looked beyond the hand and focused on Dean. So using his vision, he was able to see the 8 fingers because he was focusing beyond what people would think would be the issue. So from there, I think Patch seen that the doctors are only treating what they think is the issue. So what would be the hand? But really, what doctors need to be looking at is the patient as a whole. They need to focus on building that relationship with the patient, because a lot of times we'll treat the disease, send the patient home, and then they don't cooperate with the plan of care we created. And so Patch decides he's going to go to med school, he's going to be a doctor, and he's going to change the world of medicine. He's going to make it about, bringing humor in to the hospitals, to getting to know the patients, helping them get their goals. I know there was 2 situations where he had a war veteran and no one could reach this war veteran. And so what Patch did was he got his friends together. They used a bunch of balloons to make safari animals. They gave him a gun and some sort of popping mechanism to where whenever he would shoot, the balloons would pop. And it brought back that joy he had when he was in the war. And the doctors didn't quite get that. They thought he was making a mockery of medicine, when really he was helping bring joy. He was distracting from the pain. Yes, I believe we do need to treat the pain medically. We need to use pain medication, discover the problem of the pain. But what Patch did was he went further. Not only did he want to treat the pain, but he wanted to help distract from the pain as well. So how is this relevant to my life? Well, currently I'm an oncology nurse, so a lot of my patients deal with a lot of pain. So, we're giving morphine quite regularly around the clock, and sometimes it just doesn't work. So what we want to try to do is we want to use some humor. We want to distract from the pain as well. And I know with our charting, and we have the option of what did we do about this pain when we document that the patient's having pain. Yes, there's always that option to hit medical, and that's really the most common option that will go for a drug. But there's always that option of humor and distraction, and I think that's what Patch aimed for. He really went beyond what most doctors would do. And he tried to make, people comfortable. He tried to get them ready to move on if they were in palliative care. I know in the end, he said, a doctor's mission should not just be to prevent death, but to also improve quality of life. And he was sitting before the board at the med school, and they were wanting to get rid of him because of his methods, and they were different than what everybody else was doing. But he didn't say, we should just bring humor and worry about quality of life. He said it should be not just to prevent death. He said he didn't say that we shouldn't try and treat it, but we need to do both. We need to look at preventing death and also improving quality of life at the same time. I find that to be very important. And how was this issue resolved? Well, this was actually based on a true story. So not only was Patch Adams continued to allowed to graduate, but he also went on to open his own clinic in his home. They opened a hospital. He wanted to change the idea of medicine, that it shouldn't be worried about, insurance and just strictly treating the pain. He wanted to do more than that. And he did get to do more than that. And I think he did change a lot of doctors' views. At the end of the movie, it said 1,000 physicians were signed up and ready to go to that hospital on opening day. So it wasn't just Patch's idea that we need to do more in medicine to bring humor into the hospital. I think a lot of people agreed with that, and they followed through with that. I know in the middle of the movie, at the beginning of the med school, he did the hello experiment. And, we are programmed, to say hi back when someone says hello to us. It's just common knowledge that that's how we interact with each other. But what Patch did, he was hanging upside down on a pole, and he said, hello. And what did that lady do? She said, hi, and she walked right on thinking, oh my goodness, what craziness. And then she turned around and she giggled. She laughed at Patch, and that was the reaction he was hoping for, because you know what that did? That made her feel good. That made her laugh. That brought joy to her life. We got to go above and beyond what's expected of us to help improve the life of our patients. And I think Patch did that. And, a lot of people thought Patch was weird. I know his roommate said, I ain't got time to do this. I have to study. I'm the top of my class. This is what's going to get the job done. When someone's dying on their deathbed, he's like, I'm with the prick that's trying to help me, to get me out of that point where I'm going to die. I don't want the person that's going to sit there and make me laugh. I want that prick. And I think by the end of that movie, the roommate Mitch, he realized that you can do both. Because at the end of the movie, there was this older lady. He was like, I did everything for her. I can treat her. I can diagnose her. But one thing I cannot do is I cannot make this woman eat. And Patch, he went beyond medicine, and he figured out that this lady's dream was to swim in a pool full of noodles. So what did he do? He got that pool of cooked noodles, and he got in there with her, and he brought joy to that woman's life. He gave her a reason to try, to keep going, to eat again. And so I feel like not only did that help Patch, give him reason to go on, to keep trying and make medicine a better place, but that changed how Mitch, the roommate, seen medicine as well. He was no longer just focused on being the best doctor, to be able to diagnose anybody in the hospital, to knowing how to treat anyone in the hospital. He no longer was focused on being the best. He was worried more beyond the science of medicine. He was then on Patch's side, ready to treat medicine. And I feel like that was great, that the goal was accomplished there in the movie. So, in conclusion, I just feel like the movie Patch Adams' goal was to show that humor needs to be brought into the hospital, that we need to have a personal relationship with our patients. I don't think it's what some people were saying, that it was making medicine and science unimportant. You just need to combine the two, and I feel like the movie did a good job of showing that. Thank you.